Welcome to Predator Solutions. I'm JJ357, and this is how I reload 5.56 practice slash plinking slash blasting ammo. But before I get into that, I want to talk a little bit about this progressive press. More importantly, why a progressive stage press over a single stage press. I would prefer to have both, but I only have the progressive stage, and that's the one that I chose to go with. Obviously, budget will dictate what press you will go with. Let me talk a little bit about how this works. You have your full-length resizing die here. You have a spot for your powder die, which on a caliber conversion that these Dillon 550Bs, anytime you go from like 223 or 30-06, you're going to have a caliber conversion. And the caliber conversion changes these plates here and these pegs here. I'm not going to go into great detail about that, but this is where your powder die goes, and then the powder funnel that goes into the die, and then this powder dispenser here goes on top of that, and this is where you measure your charge. When you get the right charge, it's locked in, and you can crank the rounds through there to reload them. This is your bullet seating die, and currently this bullet seating die, this is 223 dies, and this bullet seating die is set for the 77 grain Sierra Match King, and this is your crimp die. Okay, how the advantage of the progressive over the single stage is that it can function as a single stage, and yet when you've dialed in your recipe, your load, you can really crank out a lot of loads really fast. Now you ask, well, why don't you just go ahead and do that from the get-go rather than working it as a single stage? Military brass, 5.56 brass, when you fire it, when it's been fired once. Now, I collected brass that came from various rifles, and I collected 5.56 brass that came from various rifles, and I also purchased 5.56 brass, and I put it all in one big pile to be sorted later. And you know, they're going to have to be, once they've been resized and deprimed, they're going to have to be trimmed. So this does not have a trimming functionality within the 550B. So that's why I'm going to have to full length resize the case, and then I'm going to have to run the case through and drop it in here. And then once I've full length sized and deprimed all the cases, I'll be able to move on with other stages. Anywho. The other thing is that I want to get a really good precise load. Now this works great. I did have, when we were measuring speeds on some 30-06, which this is sitting on some 30-06 dies right now, but when we were measuring some 30-06, 257 Roberts and 223 rounds, 257 and 223, 5.56 rounds and 17 Remington, when we were there was a big spread of speed, and I don't know what it was that was causing that. I'm assuming that this was a little bit inconsistent. However, that being said, every time we measured the charge, every time in the middle of reloading, we would weigh the charge that it was dispensing, and it was right on. So I'm not sure why the varying speed. It was a huge spread, actually. I think on one of those, I think it was my 17 Remington loads, the spread was at least 100 feet per second, and I'm not sure that's right. We are kind of novices at this, so maybe that is okay. But what the idea that I've got is I'm going to run this like a single stage press, and then I'm going to load like maybe 15-20 rounds, but I'm going to hand pour the powder into the cases and make sure that all those powder charges are equal. Okay, so there's that. And then once I get my recipe down, then I'll start cranking them out. I'll set the powder dispenser and set everything the way I need to have it set, and start cranking them out the way I want them. Let me backtrack just a little bit. I don't know if I mentioned this. I mentioned that budget would dictate what kind of press you would get. Also, if you only hunt and you're just going to be reloading hunting rounds, I personally would lean towards a single stage press, because hunting rounds you may load maybe 50 of those in a season. Depends on what you're hunting. If you're blasting a prairie dog town, then you may want to go with a progressive. Okay, now back to what I was saying before. You can once you've got these dialed in, you can remove this, and once you've loaded as many rounds as you want, you can remove it, slide this out, and put in another set of dies and reset the powder funnel. Dylan makes all kinds of neat little gadgets where you can even buy. You would never have to change any of it out, but obviously we're not doing it that way. We're going to have to reset the powder die per cartridge every time we reload. So, okay. Enough about that. Not sure if I went into... Yeah, I think I did. Okay. So, the progressive advantage. Once you found your perfect recipe for the bullet you intend to use, you can knock out hundreds of rounds really fast with this. I will mention this. I strongly, if you do go with the Dylan 550B, I do recommend this RL 550B video. It's not very expensive, but there was information that I did not get on forums. It wasn't a lot of information. I think it was like a couple of things, and I thought, okay, nobody said anything about that on any of the videos or on any of the forums, and it's need to know information. I recommend this highly. Get it. It's inexpensive. It's coming from people who created this thing, and they understand it, and they know it, and they know how to set it. All right, next. All right, during the sorting stage of the brass and the inspecting, again, I'm going to be checking head stamps. Most of this brass is Lake City, so that's what I'm collecting and putting in this pile here. There have been, in this pile, there have been some TAA 556 brass. There has been some 223 Remington. There's been some 223 Federal. And I think I had a few 223 Winchester. But so what I'm pulling out of here is the Lake City. So I'm going to check head stamp, make sure that it's Lake City. And this is, I have three tools I use with me during this stage. The first tool is this awl here, and the second tool is this metal wire. I don't remember where I got that. And the other is the third tool I use is this this headlamp, and I throw it over my head. But I have good lighting in here, so I'm not using it. But this is something that I normally use during this stage if I had poor lighting. And I use that to look inside the case to make sure that it is not Berdine primed case, and also checking it for junk. And if there's junk in it, like clots, dirt clots, spider cobwebs, I get it out and just clean it out. See, I just broke up a little bit there, but I get that all out. What I use the awl for, this is not a really, see how there's a dent in this case? The neck here. Now, this is not really bad, and honestly, even if it was a little worse than this, that the die, the Dylan die would get that out. But the reason I use this awl to straighten that out is so I can get a good look inside there. Get a good look inside the case, and there's nothing in there, and it's not Berdine primed, and it is Lake City. I'll inspect it, inspect the neck, looks good, it goes into the good pile. Okay, so that's what I do during this stage. Lake City. Not Bernine primed. Looks good. Just a little bit of dirt in there. Throw it in the good pot. Okay, this is TAA brass. It's not going to focus. You're going to have to take my word for it. That's TAA brass. Okay, that goes over there. I'll sort that in a different, I'll put that in a different pop. Okay, that's this stage. This is the sorting stage. Different brand cases have different web thicknesses, which will affect the swaging repeatability when we get to that step in this process. So that's another reason why I separate that brass. Okay, next stage. All right, the next stage is cleaning the brass, tumbling it. Currently, we are using a Hornady case tumbler. It's a good tumbler. I've seen bad reviews on it. I've seen good reviews on it. For the 556 cases, I can tumble about 250, 260 cases of the 556 cases in here. Currently, I'm using Lyman pre-treated media that I got picked up at Walmart. It's quick, it's easy. There are more economical ways of doing this. You can buy corncob media, walnut media in bulk, and it will be obviously more economical. And you can buy case treatment polish that you can put in it and polish your cases. Now, one thing about the walnut media, I see and I read a lot about it leaves the cases dusty. That's why we opted to go with the corncob media, and it gets the cases pretty clean, which brings me to another important point. How long do I tumble the cases? Well, it depends. It depends on how dirty the cases are, and it depends on how clean you want the cases. Anywhere from 45 minutes to 3 hours. I've been known to tumble 45 minutes, and I've been known to tumble up to 3 hours. This generally is about how clean I get. This is about how, this is not super clean. You really can't see it here, but there's still a trace of that dark coloration along the neck. It's not really super clean, but it's clean enough for me. All right, enough about that.